Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK Journey video. In this video we're going to be going over the battle drills map, the Spider Wasteland, because this time around it is the second time we're attempting this, and this is going to be probably the time we manage to get the clear for the 500 diamonds. But even then, it's really only going to be the top guilds of the district which are going to be able to clear this boss. It is still a very difficult map, even coming at it on the second time. So don't be upset if you're not able to clear this. Just do your reputation treasure, get up to level 5. That is how you get the major rewards from battle drills. The 500 diamonds is just like a cherry on top of the cake if you're able to clear it, but don't worry if you can't, because it's really only 500 diamonds at the end of the day. But in order to clear this, I'm going to go through all of the top scoring teams, because we have replays and the top contribution from all of the different stages. But one thing I just want to mention is the heroes which are at plus 15 exclusive equipment upgrade. For some reason, they out damage their like plus 10 counterparts by so much that it doesn't even make sense. And like, for the example, it's best shown in the physical damage team, because most people don't have, for example, the Mirali, Corin, and Vala at plus 15, or they might take them at most at plus 10. Like, all of mine are at plus 10. And so my damage from that physical team, if we take a look at Shadow Mirali, because I did this last time around, and I was getting around 500 billion damage, but Wooster somehow with that same team is getting 2,000 billion damage, like 4 times the score that I was getting. And the only difference between his team comps, now he's doing Scarlita and Temesia, but before he was running Kruger and Lucius or Thorin or something, and he was still getting these really high scores. So it was just all about, I guess the only difference was the exclusive equipment upgrade between his Mirali, Corin, and Vala compared to mine, which in most areas of the game, having that extra like 5 levels from 10 to 15 doesn't make much of a difference, but for some reason in this battle drills map it goes completely out of whack. And another way we can see that as an example is Odie at plus 15 exclusive equipment is doing a lot of damage. Take a look at the top scoring team for Shadow Mirali here, and this is of course a plus 15 Odie dealing like pretty much all of the damage, like 1,500 billion damage almost. Now if we look all the way down here, we have the same, almost same exact team, and again with the Odie here, but he's only doing 377 billion damage, and the only major difference is that he's at 3 stars at plus 10 exclusive equipment, whereas the top ones are at plus 15. So for some reason the plus 15s do really well, and a lot of people are going to have a plus 15 Odie, and that is why an Odie team is probably going to be your best bet for all of these bosses. When we take a look at every single one of these bosses, the top scoring teams are all going to be Odie. All of these top teams, other than Woosters and even like mine for example, they are all going to be Odie. My physical damage teams cannot even come close to the numbers that the top scoring teams are getting. And it's probably because I don't have them at plus 15 exclusive equipment. And yeah, and then Wooster's lower teams will probably be the Odie, magical damage dealer teams. And don't worry if you don't have Cassidy. Like, people can run, like, instead of Cassidy, you can run Thorin, you can run, there are some other options we'll see that people who are not running Cassidy, but you can even run Cassidy at Mythic Plus. Some people ran that and still got really high scores. So this is not like necessarily the best team, and in fact for the final boss this is not the best team. It's better to be running Thorin in it, as we can see once we look at the contribution on the main boss. But that is for these major mini bosses. Now for the other ones which might be difficult, like these 2 hero formations, we're not going to get an amazing idea of what the best teams are here, because like it was limited in who was able to attack these, only the people starting on the right stronghold. But these are going to be the teams also revolving around Odie, but as you can tell, magical damage is going to do really well as well. So a lot of the different bosses here, magical damage is going to be better than physical damage. I don't know why that is. But and especially in these ones when there are 2 enemies or more, if you have Iron crowd control teams, they are also going to be pretty effective. So you can either run like an Odie team, like you can see on I think Asadar's pretty much Odie team, but he was also running Elsa and she dealt a lot of damage. She is a magical damage dealer. Or you can go for the Iron type teams. You don't even have to run Odie here. You could go for full Iron, Aridin, Carolina, and Parissa and Damien. You could go for that team, and that will do well for the 2 hero formations. And even if we take a look at these final guards here, the top scoring teams were either Iron teams, Iron crowd control teams. I'm using Lily May, but that was for experimentation. I think Aridin would have been better here. So definitely you can do that. And for the four hero teams, definitely Iron teams are going to be the top performing, no question about it. If there are 4 heroes on the formation, 5 heroes on the enemy formation, Iron crowd control team, which is Iron, Carolina, Arden, Parissa, Damien, or any other AoE damage dealers, Elsa, things like that, that is going to be your best way of clearing them. Even for the 2 hero guards, it can be one of the top scoring teams, but for the 2 hero guards, you can also do what Splash has done and just bring the Odie magical damage dealer team comp, which is his boss team, but it will work well in the 2 hero guards. But don't really bring that into the 4 hero or more guards, because then you really want to use crowd control to take advantage of it like Splash was doing here. Okay, so that pretty much covers all the major bosses, mini bosses, strongholds. Now we're going to talk about the main boss himself. What is the top performing team? Gazon has a top performing team, and it is, as you can see with Thorin here. The Coco is here, but he's replaced a Cassidy with Thorin, and he's out damaging even Splash, who of course has in our guild one of the highest like built up on his heroes, really high Paragon as well, although Paragon doesn't matter in PvE content as much, but it is out damaging Cassidy. So, and it is quite consistent. All of the Thorin teams instead of Cassidy are getting the highest score, and it's probably because both Thorin and Rainier are going to increase the damage the boss receives, and this shows you that Cassidy can be good in a magical damage dealer team comp, but she is not necessarily the best, and in fact the best scoring team here doesn't even have Cassidy in it. And then for one of other Gazon's team, he used Scarlita in one of the teams for testing. I want to try to find Worcester's physical team to show you that even like a fully upgraded physical team is not even doing as well. Like he had a Taylor and Ludovic team. So this is his physical team. Completely stacked, as upgraded as you can even imagine. Plus 15 or plus 20 on all of his damage dealers, even Scarlita and Temesia. And he's only getting 1,400 billion damage, whereas the Thorin Odie team is getting more than double that damage. So magical damage is the king for Spider Wasteland for whatever reason, and this seems to be the best overall formation. So now with my attacks, I have Thorin locked in. We're going to try this team and maybe try some different options and see come maybe with what is the overall best team. We also have my physical comp, so I will go ahead and begin with attacking with my physical comp. And unfortunately, I don't have much stamina on Thorin because I didn't know Thorin was going to be the best damage dealer contributor here. And for the artifact, we didn't actually watch the replays, but I'm pretty sure everyone's using evocation spell. This is pretty much considered to be the best artifact choice for a lot of the battle drills maps. Okay, so we're gonna try this one, and my Scarlita is highly upgraded, but she's not gonna be the main form of damage. It mainly comes from Corin, Vala, and Merrily, and because all of them are at plus 10, normally it shouldn't make that much of a difference, but in this battle drills map there seems to be like some like hidden huge boost in damage for getting those high upgrades. Like as you can tell here, Wooster got 1.4 billion damage. We're not even going to come close to that. We might not even get half of that. And this is to show you that the physical damage dealer team comp is just not the way to go, unless maybe you have plus 15 on all of your physical damage dealers, but even then, the magical damage dealer team comp is going to double that damage. We just got about half the damage that Wooster got. And I think a lot of it came from Scarlita if we take a look at the contribution. Because, yeah, the Merrily and Corin hardly do any damage, but when they get up to plus 15, somehow magically they're like destroying the damage chart. Okay, so that is the weak team, and not what I recommend, so you don't even, but if you're going for the 2 hero guards, that is a point where you can bring the physical comp, even without a highly upgraded physical comp like mine. We would do pretty well in the 2 hero guards, but even then the magic comp with Odie is going to be better than that. Okay, so we will only have one attempt to try the Thorin team, but I will try it out. I don't know if, I mean, I'll do this positioning. I don't really know if anyone dies. I don't think people die in this boss. It just comes down to, are you able to get enough damage in time? So that is also a reason maybe Coco isn't the best option for this team, but this has been the top scoring team. Look at that, already we're at 1,500 billion damage, already more than double the physical damage dealer team comp. So it just all is about Odie comp. Odie is your only source of damage. Have Thorin and Rainier to increase the damage the boss receives. Have Smokey to buff up the Odie. And then your damage can go off the chart. Like, we're gonna get 2,700 billion damage, which is really, really high. Now we're gonna try some different combos because we won't have Thorin for the falling ones and see whether we can come a little bit close to that. We're not gonna get even near to it, but
For research.
I'm gonna try with this team, maybe. With Cassidy. Because I think Cassidy would be the next best option if you don't have the Thorn here. Because she will have some magical damage of her own. She empowers the normal attacks of your own heroes to have a bit of additional magical damage. And magical damage really is the king in this Spider Wasteland map and for these bosses. So Elsa would be a pretty good option if you wanted to run her. But definitely you need to have Thorn and Rainier locked in preparation for this boss, because both of them are going to increase the form of all sources of damage, both physical and magical, and that is why they're the really good options along with Odie, because he's a magical damage dealer. Like for example, Kruger is specifically for physical debuff, so there we got 2.5 billion damage, which is definitely really good as well. But if we want to try some different replacements, the only other thing I'm thinking we could try to do is get rid of Coco, but then my team will get really awkward. We could try Lily May. I want to try Lily May just for the fun of it, but Coco I should keep using here because Coco won't really fit well in the other teams. And here at least we're getting a pretty good factional synergy by having the Coco in here. So Lily May is a magical damage dealer, and that is why I thought she would be good in this boss. She also has true damage, but true damage doesn't seem like it's doing that much in these fights, because otherwise Merrily and Corn would be carrying you hard, even without being highly upgraded on exclusive equipment. Okay, we're up to 2,000 billion damage, which is like, should be saying 2 trillion damage, and 13 seconds left. We're gonna get close to 2.5 billion, but pretty much the same damage output as if we had Coco here. Actually, the Coco team got a little bit higher damage. Yeah, Lily May hardly contributed anything. It is all about Odie. For whatever reason, he destroys the bosses, probably also because he's at plus 15 exclusive equipment. Yeah, so now Odie is gone, and now we're in trouble because he was all of our damage. Now I'm gonna try the Iron nuke team. We don't have even Iron in here. I got rid of Iron because I figured he's not gonna be good for this boss, because you can't crowd control bosses. So we're gonna just try a team without them. I guess we can go for Cassidy. We have a lot of magical damage here. It is a magical damage comp. And then we can go for maybe Coco as a final hero, and then leave the Scarlita for the physical comp. Let's see whether this can get... This will probably get a higher score than the physical comp, which only got 500 billion, but I don't think it will get that much higher. But already, over 500 billion damage, we could... Yeah, so another comp which people use here, I think we saw one of them is Taylene Ludovic, which can be reasonable. Taylene can get off a lot of damage, but even here, these magical damage dealers are getting off a lot of damage here. 30 seconds left on the clock, already 1 trillion damage has been taken down. I want to see the damage contribution. I wonder if it's all my Carolina, because the only hero I have here, which is plus 15 exclusive equipment, is Carolina. But I think all of them should be contributing a lot here, right? No, it is Carolina. It's all about plus 15 magic damage dealers, ideally. Those are the ones which dominate in this Spider Wasteland map. It's really, yeah, I just don't fully understand the mechanics of it, but anyway, let's go ahead and put the Tamesia up front, Vala and these two in the back with the evocation spell. Evocation spell gives you crit, it gives you attack, it gives you shielding, and shielding doesn't matter, but the attack buff throughout the fight is pretty helpful for your damage. But you could try also the Crescent spell, but like I said, I didn't see a big damage difference between the two of them. And from previous testing, people have said that Evocation spell is even better than Crescent. So you can just stick to Evocation spell and do pretty well. But anyway guys, that is going to be it for this testing. We had, I think the boss is below, no, the boss is still not below 50% health, but I don't think that's going to change anything. The Vala damage still is going to be pretty low, unless you have her at like plus 15 exclusive equipment. But anyway, you guys have now a pretty good idea of what are the key team comps. It really just comes down to, definitely the top scoring team is an Odie magical damage dealer team. For the final boss himself, that will be Thorin, Rainier, both to increase Odie's damage. Odie, Coco, Smokey, that is a top team. But very close to that is, rather than Thorin, you can run the Cassidy in there, and that would be really good. And then apart from that, you can go for other magical damage dealer team cons with Persa, Carolina, Elsa. I wouldn't recommend Arden. He is good for when there are multiple enemies. If it's just one pure boss, I think the other ones, Carolina, also do a little bit better than him. You can even do Lily May, but she's not going to be dealing any amazing damage or anything unless you have her at like plus 15 maybe. So anyway guys, yeah, it definitely is a strange map, and the real reason it is so difficult is that your plus 10 upgraded Core and Merrily are just not contributing enough damage. Normally in the previous Battle Drills maps, they were rivaling the damage of your Odie team. But here is just really your Odie team you're depending on to clear a lot of the bosses and the mini bosses, which then you are limited. Like you only have those 5 heroes, and then your other teams are not even getting close to the damage of the Odie team. But anyway guys, let me know what you think about the Battle Drills. Hopefully this video was helpful to give you an idea of which heroes to go for. And if you want information on how to clear the passages, the best teams to clear passages are going to be massive crowd control damage like Carolina, Arden, Iron. That's one team I like to run, and the other team, a Greyborn team like Viperon, Cecia, and Igor. Both of these can clear these passages very effectively. You want to try to clear them within 30 seconds so that you have maximum stamina refunded to you. But yeah, really lock in your Odie team. Everyone in your guild should lock in an Odie team. Ideally get him to plus 15 exclusive equipment, otherwise his damage is not going to compete. As you saw, there was one team that had a plus 10 Odie, which was getting like 1/3 of the damage of someone with a plus 15 Odie. So try to get that, and if you have any other plus 15 heroes for whatever reason, probably throw them in. They're probably going to be pretty good for you, but really magical damage is better than physical damage. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.